Shanaaz Gokool is the CEO of Dying with Dignity Canada. We have reached her today, and let me first off start by thanking you for your time today and by asking you your thoughts on Audrey Parker and the debate she has now triggered in this country around the rules for medical assistance in dying. What kind of a difference is she making?
Thank you, Peter. Well, Audrey Parker has been a one-woman tour de force, really opening up a whole new avenue of discussion on assisted dying. And today our hearts go out to her family and friends who were with her this afternoon when she had a medically assisted dying death. But Audrey has done something really remarkable in the last couple of months as she's dying. She has breast cancer that has spread into her bones, that has now spread into her brain. And she has a lot of suffering. She had a lot of suffering and pain with the cancer. And when I first spoke with her a few weeks ago, she kept referring to her category. People in her category should be allowed to go ahead. And I thought to myself, what is her category? And then it hit me and I said, well, your category is assessed and approved. You've already made the request.
Right.
You've gone through the rigorous, comprehensive, assessment process by 2 independent clinicians. You're approved. You should be allowed. And Audrey just wanted to live for one more Christmas with family and friends, but felt forced to die today because she's at a high risk of losing capacity because of the cancer that's in her brain.
Can you help us understand this this predicament that she was in? Once you're approved and you provide consent, so that we understand correctly, you have to do that again just before the procedure is carried out, correct? So explain to me this predicament that she was caught in, that I'm sure other Canadians are caught in as well.
Absolutely. So Audrey, her predicament is the same cruel choice that the Supreme Court of Canada reviewed when they came down with the Carter decision, which led to the federal legislation on assisted dying. And what that choice is either you choose to die too early while you still have, in Audrey's case, days, weeks, or even a couple of months of great quality life still left, or you miss that window to have an assisted death because you must have capacity at the time of receiving life-ending medication, and you die in a manner that's horrible to you and with a lot of pain and suffering. And so Audrey made the choice to die too early. She felt, and she was forced to die while she still could, because if she loses capacity, she loses her legal right, her human right altogether to have an assisted death. And I think what's really important in the framing of, the situation that she's in, and we know from Health Canada's reporting that many Canadians are choosing to try to have an assisted death, but then they're not able to have it because they've lost capacity. And we know of cases like Audrey's where, for fear of losing capacity, they die too early. And what we have to remember here is this is a very severe and grave violation of her charter right to life, liberty, and security of the person. Audrey has given up days of good quality life to be able to die. And in doing so, educating and talking about her story, showing such courage in one of the most vulnerable times in a person's life, so that other Canadians, and that's her hope, will not have to go through the same thing and end up with the same cruel predicament.
The government is suggesting, well, it's expressing its condolences and wishing it could have acted differently. The Minister of Health is saying that Audrey was basically caught in a process that didn't serve her but will serve others, namely that the government is still looking at possible amendments to the law but isn't ready to change it yet for one person, because it needs to have a law in place for all Canadians, not just for individual cases. How do you respond to that?
The government had every opportunity in 2016 when our organization and many other experts across the country said that this was exactly what was going to happen. So we have people like Audrey, who's at high risk of losing capacity, who aren't able to have the death that they want at the time of their choosing. But we also have another category of people who want advanced requests. People who have a diagnosis like dementia, where they may lose capacity if they're dying with dementia, and that could be many months or years from now. They also have no option. And so the government, could have done something in 2016, and they now have to study these issues. They will come back with a report from the Canadian Council of Academies. We believe in December. And then there has to be an onus to do something about this because, in Audrey's case and for other people who have dementia, the suffering that they face with nothing on the table, I mean, clearly then the law hasn't been crafted for all Canadians. It's been crafted for select groups of people who will have capacity. And what we are really talking about here fundamentally is discrimination and severe Section 7 violations of the Charter.
Let's finish on this if I can. She chose to make this a very public final stage of her life. Others don't. How many others in this country, if you know, are in the same situation as Audrey Parker?
Anecdotally, we know of a number of people that have had this sort of worry and this fear of losing capacity, and I would say that they're in a high-risk vulnerable group because they could lose capacity at any time. It's hard to know the exact numbers. We should know when there is more comprehensive reporting on medical assistance in dying. But the one thing I do want to share is when I spoke with Audrey yesterday afternoon, she said to me that she wanted all of Canada to know with her last dying breath today that being forced to die too early, she's a vibrant, lovely woman, is just wrong. And we have to find a way to make sure that people can live as long as they can, the best quality of life that they can, until they can't.
All right, Shanaaz Gokool from Dying with Dignity Canada. Thanks for your perspective tonight. Appreciate it.
Thank you for covering this, Peter.